சத்தியம் வாழ்வின் ஜீவனாடி அன்பின் ஒளியே வழிகாட்டி. சத்தியம் வாழ்வின் ஜீவனாடி அன்பின் ஒளியே வழிகாட்டி. உள்ளவையெல்லாம் அன்னையின் சரணம், உள்ளவையெல்லாம் அன்னையின் சரணம். வாழ்வனைத்தும் யோகமே, வாழ்வனைத்தும் யோகமே. சத்தியம் வாழ்வின் ஜீவனாடி அன்பின் ஒளியே வழிகாட்டி. மலரும் அதிசயமே, மலர்களைப் போல மலர்ந்திடுவோமே. ஆசையை நேர்மையாக்குவோம், யாரையும் நேசித்திருப்போம். இறைவன் ஒளியை தரிசிப்போம். உள்ளவையெல்லாம் அன்னையின் சரணம். வாழ்வனைத்தும் யோகமே, வாழ்வனைத்தும் யோகமே. சத்தியம் வாழ்வின் ஜீவனாடி அன்பின் ஒளியே வழிகாட்டி. லட்சியம் நோக்கி பணிபுரிவோம். திருவருள் படியே எல்லாம் நடக்கும், ஒவ்வொரு கணமும் அற்புதமே. அன்னையின் பாதம் அடிபணிந்தாலே வெற்றி அமைதி பூவாகும். உள்ளவையெல்லாம் அன்னையின் சரணம். வாழ்வனைத்தும் யோகமே, வாழ்வனைத்தும் யோகமே. சத்தியம் வாழ்வின் ஜீவனாடி அன்பின் ஒளியே வழிகாட்டி.
ஓம் நமோ பகவதே ஸ்ரீ அரவிந்தாய. ஓம் ஆனந்தமயி சைதன்யமயி சத்தியமயி பரமே. Savitri, Book 11, The Book of Everlasting Day. Canto 1, The Eternal Day, the Soul's Choice and the Supreme Consummation. Then after silence a still blissful cry began, such as arose from the infinite. When the first whisperings of a strange delight imagined in its deep the joy to see, the patient to discover and to touch, the enamored laugh which rhymed the chanting words. O beautiful body of the incarnate word, thy thoughts are mine, I have spoken with thy voice. My will is thine, what thou hast chosen I choose. All thou hast asked I give to earth and men. All shall be written out in destiny's book. By my trustee of thought and plan and act, the executor of my will, eternal time. But since thou hast refused my maimeless calm, and turned from my termless peace, in which is expunged the visage of space and the shape of time is lost, and from happy extinction of thy separate self, in my uncompanioned lone eternity, For not for thee the nameless wordless naught, annihilation of thy living soul, and the end of thought and hope and life and love, in the blank measureless unknowable, I lay my hands upon thy soul of flame, I lay my hands upon thy heart of love, I yoke thee to my power of work in time.
Because thou hast obeyed my timeless will, because thou hast chosen to share earth's struggle and fate, and leaned in pity over earth-bound men, and turned aside to help and yearn to save. I bind by thy heart's passion thy heart to mine, and lay my splendid yoke upon thy soul. Now will I do in thee my marvelous works. I will fasten thy nature with my cords of strength, subdue to my delight thy spirit's limbs, and make thee a vivid knot of all my bliss, and build in thee my proud and crystal home. Thy days shall be my shafts of power and light, thy nights my starry mysteries of joy, and all my clouds lie tangled in thy hair, and all my springtides marry in thy mouth.
O Sun Word, thou shalt raise the earth soul to light and bring down God into the lives of men. Earth shall be my work chamber and my house, my garden of life to plant a seed divine. When all thy work in human time is done, the mind of earth shall be a home of light, the life of earth a tree growing towards heaven, the body of earth a tabernacle of God. Awakened from the mortal's ignorance, man shall be lit with the eternal's ray, and the glory of my sun lift in their thoughts, and feel in their hearts the sweetness of my love, and in their acts my powers miraculous drive.
My will shall be the meaning of their days, living for me, by me, in me they shall live. In the heart of my creation's mystery, I will enact the drama of thy soul, inscribe the long romance of thee and me. I will pursue thee across the centuries. Thou shalt be hunted through the world by love, naked of ignorance, protecting veil, and without covert from my radiant gods. No shape shall screen thee from my divine desire. Nowhere shalt thou escape my living eyes.
In the nudity of thy discovered self, in a bare identity with all that is, disrobed of thy covering of humanity, divested of the dense veil of human thought, made one with every mind and body and heart, made one with all nature and with self and God, summing in thy single soul my mystic world, I will possess in thee my universe. The universe find all I am in thee. Thou shalt bear all things that all things may change. Thou shalt fill all with my splendor and my bliss. Thou shalt meet all with thy transmuting soul.
Assailed by my infinitudes above, and querying in immensities below, pursued by me through my mind's wallness vast, oceanic with the surges of my life, a swimmer lost between two leaping seas, by my outer pains and inner sweetnesses, finding my joy in my opposite mysteries, thou shalt respond to me from every nerve.
A vision shall compel thy coursing breath. Thy heart shall drive thee on the wheel of works. Thy mind shall urge thee through the flames of thought, to meet me in the abyss and on the heights, to feel me in the tempest and the calm, and love me in the noble and the vile, in beautiful things and terrible desire. The pains of hell shall be to thee my kiss, the flowers of heaven persuade thee with my touch. My fiercest masks shall my attractions bring.
Music shall find thee in the voice of swords. Beauty pursue thee through the core of flame. Thou shalt know me in the rolling of the spears, and cross me in the atoms of the world. The wailing forces of my universe shall cry to thee the summons of my name. Delight shall drop down from my nectarous moon. My fragrance sees thee in the jasmine's snare. My eyes shall look upon thee from the sun, mirror of nature's secret spirit made. Thou shalt reflect my hidden heart of joy. Thou shalt drink down my sweetness unalloyed in my pure lotus cup of starry brim.
My dreadful hands laid on thy bosom shall force thy being bathed in fiercest longing streams. Thou shalt discover the one unquerying note, and cry the harp of all my melodies, unroll my foaming wave in seas of love. Even my disaster's clutch shall be to thee, the ordeal of my rapture's contrary shape. In pain's self shall smile on thee my secret face. Thou shalt bear my ruthless beauty unbridged, amid the world's intolerable wrongs, trampled by the violent misdeeds of time. Cry out to the ecstasy of my rapture's touch.
All being shall be to thy life my emissaries, drawn to me on the bosom of thy friend, compelled to meet me in thy enemy's eyes. My creature shall demand me from thy heart. Thou shalt not shrink from any brother's soul. Thou shalt be attracted helplessly to all. Men seeing thee shall feel my hands of joy. In sorrow's pangs feel steps of the world's delight. Their life experience its tumultuous shock in the mutual craving of two opposites.
Hearts touched by thy love shall answer to my call, discover the ancient music of the spheres in the revealing essence of thy voice, and nearer draw to me because thou art enamored of thy spirit's loveliness. They shall embrace my body in thy soul, hear in thy life the beauty of my love. Know the thrilled bliss with which I made the worlds. All that thou hast shall be for others' bliss. All that thou art shall to my hands belong.
I will pour delight from thee as from a jar. I will whirl thee as my chariot through the ways. I will use thee as my sword and as my lyre. I will play on thee my minstrelsies of thought. And when thou art vibrant with all ecstasy, and when thou livest one spirit with all things, then will I spare thee not my living fires, but make thee a channel for my timeless force.
My hidden presence led thee unknowing on, from thy beginning in earth's voiceless bosom, through life and pain and time and will and death, through outer shocks and inner silences, along the mystic roads of space and time, to the experience which all nature hides. Who hunts and seizes me, my captive grows. This shalt thou henceforth to learn from thy heartbeats. For ever love, O beautiful slave of God, O lasso of my rapture's widening noose, become my code of universal love.
the spirit ensnared by the force to delight, of creation's oneness sweet and fathomless, compelled to embrace my myriad unities, and all my endless forms and divine souls. O mind, grow full of the eternal peace. O word, cry out the immortal litany. Built is the golden tower, the flame child born.
Descend to life with him thy heart desires. O Satyavan, O luminous Savitri, I sent you forth of old beneath the stars, a dual power of God in an ignorant world, in a hedged creation shut from limitless self, bringing down God to the insentient globe, lifting earth beings to immortality.
In the world of my knowledge and my ignorance, where God is unseen and only is heard a name, and knowledge is trapped in the boundaries of mind, and life is hauled in the dragnet of desire, and matter hides the soul from its own sight. You are my force at work to uplift earth's fate, myself that moves up the immense incline, between the extremes of the spirits, night and day.
He is my soul that climbs from Nessian night, through life and mind and supernature's vast, to the supernal light of timelessness and my eternity hid in moving time, and my boundlessness cut by the curve of space.
It climbs to the greatness it has left behind, unto the beauty and joy from which it fell, to the closeness and sweetness of all things divine, to light without bounds and life illimitable, taste of the depths of the ineffable's bliss, touch of the immortal and the infinite.
He is my soul that gropes out of the beast to reach humanity's heights of lucent thought and the vicinity of truth sublime. He is the Godhead growing in human lives and in the body of earth beings' forms. He is the soul of man climbing to God in nature's surge out of earth's ignorance. O Savitri, thou art my spirit's power, the revealing voice of my immortal word, the face of truth upon the roads of time, pointing to the souls of men, the routes to God.
While the dim light from the veiled spirit's peak falls upon matter's stark inconscient sleep, as if a pale moonbeam on a dense glade, and mind in a half-light moves amid half-truths, and the human heart knows only human love, and life is a stumbling and imperfect force, and the body counts out its precarious days. You shall be born into man's dubious house, in forms that hide the soul's divinity, and show through wheels of the earth's doubting air, my glory breaking as through clouds a sun, or burning like a rare and inward fire, and with my nameless influence fill men's lives.
Yet shall they look up as to peaks of God, and feel God like a circumambient ear, and rest on God as on a motionless base. Yet shall there glow on mine like a horned moon the spirit's crescent splendor in pale skies, and light man's life upon his Godward road. But more there is concealed in God's beyond, that shall one day reveal its hidden face.
Now, mind is all and its uncertain ray. Mind is the leader of the body and life. Mind, the thought driven chariot of the soul, carrying the luminous wanderer in the night to vistas of a far uncertain dawn, to the end of the spirit's fathomless desire, to its dream of absolute truth and utter bliss.
There are greater destinies mind cannot surmise, fixed on the summit of the evolving path. The traveler now trends in the ignorance, unaware of his next step, not knowing his goal.
Unaware of his next step, not knowing his goal. Mind is not all his tireless climb can reach. There is a fire on the apex of the worlds. There is a house of the eternal's light. There is an infinite truth and absolute power.
The Spirit's mightiness shall cast off its mask, its greatness shall be felt, shaping the world's course. It shall be seen in its own will-less beams, a star rising from the inconsistent night, a sun climbing to supernature's peak.
Abandoning the dubious middle way, a few shall glimpse the miraculous origin, and some shall feel in you the secret force, and they shall turn to meet a nameless tread, adventures into a mightier day.
Ascending out of the limiting breadths of mind, they shall discover the world's huge design and step into the truth, the right, the vast. You shall reveal to them the hidden eternities, the breadth of infinitudes not yet revealed, some rapture of the bliss that made the world, some rush of the force of God's omnipotence, some beam of the omniscient mystery.
But when the hour of divine draws near, the mighty mother shall take birth in time, and God be born into the human clay, in forms made ready by a human life.
Then shall the truth supreme be given to men. There is a being beyond the being of mind, an immeasurable cast into many forms, a miracle of the multitudinous one. There is a consciousness mind cannot touch, its speech cannot utter, nor its thought reveal.
It has no home on earth, no center in man, yet is the source of all things thought and done, the fount of the creation and its works. It is the origin of all truth here, the sun orb of mind's fragmentary race, infinity's heaven that spills the rain of God, the immense that calls to man to expand the spirit, the wide aim that justifies his narrow attempts, a channel for the little he tastes of bliss.
Some shall be made the glory's receptacles and vehicles of the Eternal's luminous power. These are the high forerunners, the heads of time, the great deliverers of earth-bound mind, the high transfigurers of human clay, the firstborn of a new supernal race.
The incarnate dual power shall open God's door, eternal supermind touch earthly time. The Superman shall wake in mortal man and manifest the hidden demigod or grow into the God light and God force, revealing the secret deity in the cave.
Then shall the earth be touched by the Supreme. His bright unveiled transcendence shall illumine the mind and heart and force the life and act to interpret his inexpressible mystery in a heavenly alphabet of divinity's signs.
His living cosmic spirit shall enring, unveiling the decree of death and pain, erasing the formulas of the ignorance with a deep meaning of beauty and life's hid sense. The being ready for immortality, his regard crossing infinity's mystic waves, bring back to nature her early joy to live. The metered heartbeats of a lost delight, the cry of a forgotten ecstasy, the dance of the first world creating bliss.
The immanent shall be the witness, God watching on his many-petaled lotus throne. His actionless being and his silent might ruling earth nature by eternity's law. A thinker waking the inconscious world, an immobile center of many infinitudes, in his thousand-pillared temple by time's sea.
Then shall the embodied being live as one, who is a thought, a will of the divine, a mask, a robe of his divinity, an instrument and partner of his force, a point or line drawn in the infinite, a manifest of the imperishable. The supermind shall be his nature's fount. The Eternal's truth shall mould his thoughts and acts. The Eternal's truth shall be his light and guide.
All then shall change, a magic order come, overtopping this mechanical universe. A mightier race shall inhabit the mortal's world. On nature's luminous tops, on the spirit's ground, the Superman shall reign as king of life, make earth almost the mate and peer of heaven, and lead towards God and truth man's ignorant heart, and lift towards Godhead is mortality.
A power released from circumscribing bounds, its height pushed up beyond death's hungry reach. Life's tops shall flame with the immortal's thoughts, light shall invade the darkness of its base. Then, in the process of evolving time, all shall be drawn into a single plan. A divine harmony shall be earth's law. Beauty and joy remold her way to live. Even the body shall remember God. Nature shall draw back from mortality, and spirit's fires shall guide the earth's blind force. Knowledge shall bring into the aspirant thought a high proximity to truth and God.
The supermind shall climb the world for light and thrill with love of God the enormed heart, and place light's crown on nature's lifted head, and found light's reign on her unshaking base. A greater truth than earth shall roof in earth, and shed its sunlight on the roads of mind. A power infallible shall lead the thought. A seeing presence govern life and act. In earthly hearts kindle the immortal's fire.
The soul shall wake in the inconscious house. The mind shall be God vision's tabernacle. The body intuition's instrument, and life a channel for God's visible power. All earth shall be the Spirit's manifest home, hidden no more by the body and the life, hidden no more by the mind's ignorance, and unerring hand shall shape event and
The Spirit's eyes shall look through nature's eyes. The Spirit's force shall occupy nature's force. This world shall be God's visible garden house. The earth shall be a field and camp of God. Man shall forget consent to mortality and his embodied frail impermanence.
This universe shall unseal its occult sense. Creation's process change its antique front. And ignorant evolution's hierarchy. Release the wisdom chained below its base. The spirit shall be the master of his world, lurking no more in form's obscurity. And nature shall reverse her actions' rule. The outward world disclose the truth it veils. All things shall manifest the covert God. All shall reveal their spirit's light and might, and move to its destiny of felicity.
Even should a hostile force cling to its reign and claim its right's perpetual sovereignty, and man refuse his high spiritual fate, yet shall the secret truth in things prevail. For in the march of all fulfilling time, the hour must come of the transcendence will. All turns and winds towards its predestined ends, in nature's fixed inevitable course, decreed since the beginning of the worlds, in the deep essence of created things. Even there shall come as a high crown of all, the end of death, the death of ignorance.
But first high truth must set her feet on earth, and man aspire to the eternal light, and all his members feel the Spirit's touch, and all his life obey an inner force.
This too shall be, for a new life shall come, a body of the superconscious truth, a native field of supernature's mights. It shall make earth's nascent ground truth's colony, make even the ignorance a transparent robe, through which shall shine the brilliant limbs of truth, and truth shall be a sun on nature's head, and truth shall be the guide of nature's steps, and truth shall gaze out of her nether deeps.
When Superman is born as native king, his presence shall transfigure matter's world. He shall light up truth's fire in nature's night. He shall lay upon the earth truth's greater law. Man too shall turn towards the Spirit's call, awake to his hidden possibility, awake to all that slept within his heart and all that nature meant when earth was formed. And the Spirit made this ignorant world his home. He shall aspire to truth and God and bliss.
Interpreter of a diviner law and instrument of a supreme design, the higher kind shall lean to lift up man. Man shall desire to climb to his own heights. The truth above shall wake another truth. Even the dumb earth become a sentient force.
The Spirit stops and nature's base shall draw near to the secret of their separate truth and know each other as one deity. The Spirit shall look out through matter's gaze, and matter shall reveal the Spirit's face. Then man and Superman shall be at one, and all the earth become a single life.
Even the multitude shall hear the voice and turn to commune with the Spirit within, and strive to obey the
high spiritual law. This earth shall stir with impulses sublime, humanity awake to deepest self. Nature, the hidden Godhead, recognize.
Even the many shall some answer make, and bear the splendor of the divine's rush, and his impetus knock at unseen doors. A heavenlier passion shall upheave men's lives. Their mind shall share in the ineffable gleam. Their heart shall feel the ecstasy and the fire.
Earth's bodies shall be conscious of a soul, mortality's bond slaves shall unloose their bonds, mere men into spiritual beings grow, and see awake the dumb divinity, intuitive beams shall touch the nature's peaks, a revelation stir the nature's depths, the truth shall be the leader of their lives, truth shall dictate their thought and speech and act, they shall feel themselves lifted nearer to the sky, as if a little lower than the gods.
For knowledge shall pour down in radiant streams, and even darkened mind quiver with new life, and kindle and burn with the ideal's fire, and turn to escape from mortal ignorance.
The frontiers of the ignorance shall recede, more and more souls shall enter into light. Minds lit, inspired, the occult summoner hear, and lives blaze with a sudden inner flame, and hearts grow enamored of divine delight, and human wills tune to the divine will. These separate selves, the spirit's oneness feel, these senses of heavenly sense grow capable. The flesh and nerves of a strange ethereal joy, and mortal bodies of immortality, a divine force shall flow through tissue and cell, and take the charge of breath and speech and act, and all the thoughts shall be a glow of suns, and every feeling a celestial thrill.
Often a lustrous inner dawn shall come, lighting the chambers of the slumbering mind. A sudden bliss shall run through every limb, and nature with a mightier presence fill. Thus shall the earth open to divinity, and common natures feel the wide uplift, illumine common acts with the Spirit's ray, and meet the deity in common things. Nature shall live to manifest secret God, the Spirit shall take up the human play, this earthly life become the life divine. The measure of the subtle music ceased, down with the hurried swimming, floating laps through unseen worlds and bottomless space force, sank like a star the soul of Savitri.
Amidst the laughter of unearthly eyes, she heard around her nameless voices cry, triumphing an innumerable sound, a choir of rushing winds to meet her came. She bore the burden of infinity, and felt the stir of all ethereal space, pursuing her in her fall, implacably sweet. Her face was over her which seemed a youth symbol of all the beauty eyes see not, crowned as with peacock plumes of gorgeous hue, framing a sapphire whose heart-disturbing smile insatiably attracted to delight, voluptuous to the embraces of her soul.
Changed in its shape, yet rapturously the same, it grew a woman's dark and beautiful like a mooned night with the drifting star-gemmed clouds, a shadowy glory and a stormy depth, turbulent in will and terrible in love. Eyes in which nature's blind, ecstatic life sprang from some spirit's passionate content, missioned her to the whirling dance of earth. Amidst the headlong rapture of her fall, held like a bird in a child's satisfied hands, in an enamored grasp, a spirit strove, admitting no release till time should end, and as the fruit of the mysterious joy, she kept within her strong embosoming soul, like a flower hidden in the heart of spring, the soul of Satyam drawn down by her inextricably in that mighty lapse.
Invisible heavens in a thronging flight soared past her as she fell, then all the blind and near attraction of the earth compelled fearful rapidities of downward bliss, lost in the giddy proneness of that speed, whirled, sinking, overcome, she disappeared, like a leaf spinning from the tree of heaven, in broad unconsciousness, as in a pool. A hospitable softness drew her into a wonder of miraculous depths. Above her closed a darkness of great wings, and she was buried in her mother's breast. Then from a timeless plain that watches time, a spirit gazed out upon destiny, in its endless moment, saw the ages pass. All still was in a silence of the gods. The prophet moment covered limitless space and cast into the heart of hurrying time a diamond light of the eternal peace, a crimson seed of God's felicity. A glance from the gaze fell of undying love. A wonderful face looked out with deathless eyes. Her hand was seen drawing the golden bars that guard the imperishable secrecies. A key turned in a mystic lock of time, but where the silence of the gods had passed, a greater harmony from the stillness born, surprised with joy and sweetness yearning hearts, an ecstasy and a laughter and a cry, a power leaned down, a happiness found its home. Over wide earth brooded the infinite bliss. End of Canto 1, end of Book 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arvindaya. Om Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Parame.
मानस के ज्योतिर्धन श्री अरविन्दः मम शरणं श्री अरविन्दः मम शरणं श्री अरविन्दः मम शरणं मानस के ज्योतिर्धन श्री अरविन्दः मम शरणं श्री अरविन्दः मम शरणं श्री अरविन्दः मानस के ज्योतिर्धन श्री अरविन्दः मम शरणं श्री अरविन्दः मम शरणं श्री अरविन्दः